All right, welcome back students. Welcome to TutorHub, your e-classroom on YouTube. So today we'll be having more problems and questions around balancing chemical equations, and we'll apply the technique that I taught you in the previous video, and we'll have more exercises and examples in this particular video, right? So just a reminder to everyone, please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified if I uploaded a new video for you to learn and watch. And like this video, leave a comment, especially on topics that you'd like to learn in the next videos. And if you have any questions, you may write them down so that I can respond to you as soon as I can and help you with any problems that you have around chemistry, mathematics, or any topics that we'll discuss in this channel. Right. So just a reminder or just a refresher about the MNO technique that we learned before. So when balancing chemical equations, we first balance the metals, right? Then the non-metals and oxygen and hydrogen atoms will be the last atoms that we'll balance in our chemical equation, right? So keep this in mind. This would be handy and this would be very important for you to master balancing chemical equations. I know many of you find this topic very difficult, but if you get the hang of it and master this process and these steps, then you'll be able to understand and appreciate and find this topic actually very easy and fun, right? So let's discuss 3 examples in this video using this technique. So you have aluminum bromide reacting with potassium sulfate to form potassium bromide and aluminum sulfate. So again, using the MNO technique, we identify the metals first. So we have 2 metals here. We have aluminum and potassium. So for our reactant side, right, our aluminum, we have 1. And for the product side, our aluminum is 2. So we need to multiply 2 to our aluminum on the reactant side to balance it out. So that balances our aluminum. Then we balance our potassium. Okay. So on the reactant side, we have 2 because the subscript of potassium is 2 and 1 for the product side. So we need to multiply this by 2 so that it balances the potassium out. Okay. So I'm doing this a bit faster than the previous video because I assume that you're able to get the technique already. So if you haven't watched the previous video, please check that out for the more step-by-step and more slow approach on how to do this. But we'll be taking a faster, more exercise approach for this video for the sake of mastery and confidence on your part when solving problems about balancing chemical equations. Right, going back to the problem, we've balanced all the metals already. Then we identify non-metals other than oxygen and hydrogen on the chemical equation. We have bromine, right, and sulfur. Okay. So starting with bromine, we have 3 on the reactant side, but we multiplied it with 2. So that makes it 2 times 3. We actually have 6 bromine atoms on the reactant side. And here we have 2, right? For our bromine. So we need to multiply this by 6 so that we can balance the bromine here. Okay, we'll go back to potassium later. Okay, and then we have sulfur. For sulfur on the reactant side, we have 1. On the product side, we have 3, right? Remember, if there's a parenthesis, you need to multiply the subscript outside the parenthesis to the element for you to determine the total number of atoms for that particular element. Okay? Now, we have 3 sulfur atoms, so we need to multiply 3 here so that our sulfur atom becomes 3 as well. So you notice by multiplying 3 here, our potassium became 6 and our potassium here also became 6, right? So we multiply that by 6. We multiply this by 3. So potassium became 6. That balances potassium again. Bromine is already balanced at 6. And our sulfur is balanced at 3. So do you get that? So by being methodic, starting with metals, non-metals, and oxygen and hydrogen, we're able to have a much easier way on solving these types of problem, no? So balancing chemical equations become an easier problem to solve. Now we go to our last set of elements to balance. We have oxygen. We don't have any hydrogen. So 3 times 4 for oxygen, because the subscript of oxygen is 4, that would be 12. And 3 times 4, that would be also 12 for the products. That balances everything out. So just to double check, you have two aluminums, reactants and products balanced. 6 potassium, 6 potassium, that's balanced. Bromine 6, bromine 6, sulfur 3, sulfur 3, oxygen 12, oxygen 12. Now this is our balanced chemical equation, right? 2 aluminum bromide, 3 potassium sulfate, 6 potassium bromide, and 1 aluminum sulfate. Easy, right? So that makes balancing chemical equations so much easier, right? Next, let's have another problem. You have methane plus oxygen plus forming carbon dioxide and water. So this is a combustion reaction. So again, we follow the MNO technique. M, we don't have any metals, so we leave it there. Non-metals, we have carbon, right? So for the reactant side, we have 1 carbon. For the product side, we have 1 carbon. Okay, that's carbon. And then we go to oxygen and hydrogen. So oxygen, let's leave oxygen last because there's a singular oxygen here that we can easily manipulate later. So let's start with hydrogen first. Hydrogen here and the reactants is 4. Hydrogen here is 2. So we multiply this by 2 to balance the hydrogen out. Then oxygen here is 2 and oxygen here is 2 and 2, that's 4. So we multiply this by 2 so that we get 4, and this now becomes our balanced chemical equation. Are you becoming faster in solving these types of problem already at this point? Right? So you realize how easy it is with the MNO technique when you balance chemical equations, right? Now, how did you find that question? I hope you got it and you found it very much easier at this point to balance chemical equations. Now, let's have a final example for this video. Watch out for more videos in the coming days. We'll have a series of videos about balancing chemical equations because I want you to master these concepts and I want to solve more problems with you about this topic. So for this video, this would be our last example. So again, we have our MNO technique. Incidentally, we don't have metals. We'll skip that. Non-metals, we have carbon. So for the reactants and products, our carbon for the reactants is 3. Products, our carbon is 1. So we multiply this by 3 so that it balances out. Okay. And then we go now to our oxygen and hydrogen. We leave oxygen last. So that's another technique that I would like to share with you. If you have an element that stands alone in the chemical equation, you can balance that later because that will be much easier to manipulate and balance because it's alone. It doesn't come with other elements. So balancing hydrogen first, you have 8 hydrogens for the reactant side and 2 hydrogens on the product side. So we multiply this by 4 so that we get 8, right? So that balances our hydrogens, and oxygen on the reactant side is 2. Oxygen on the product side is 3 times 2. That's 6. 4 times 1 is 4. So that's 10, right? 10 oxygen atoms. So we multiply this by 5 so that we get 10. That balances oxygen out. Therefore, this would be our balanced chemical equation: 1 methane, 5 oxygen, 3 carbon dioxide, and 4 water. How easy was that? How fast was that? And don't worry, we'll have more examples in the coming video. So check that out. Check the previous video. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel because I really am very passionate in ensuring that you are able to master the concepts here and that you'll be able to learn the topics that we discuss in the channel. And like the video, leave a comment, and see you in our next class. So happy learning, everyone. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.